Hi guys, welcome to this review, a little bit of review slash commentary, if you can say, because as much as I love this film, and I think it's the best. Well, yeah, it's the best Batman movie in my opinion. Has a lot of competitors because I love the Burton one so much, but it is. Uh, Batman Mask of the Phantasm is a wonderful, fantastic, um, classic, legendary, underrated, underlooked, undervalued, undersold, underseen, every under you want. It didn't make a. I think it made 5 million in the cinemas. It didn't do any advertising for it. It's almost not. So people were like, even Roger Ebert, Siskel and Ebert said, yeah, it went straight under the radar, but when we saw it, it was wonderful. So didn't understand that. So I'll watch I don't want this review to be as long as the movie, but I'm gonna just have a look at it in the corner to just checking camera works okay. Just in reference. And of course no sound because the Batman commentary was blocked, and I worked. It's a 3 hour movie, so I was quite frustrated. Um, just a sec. Okay, so just the opening. Uh, what can I say about the opening? Um, it's as you probably know, the opening was made that was just a little bit of CGI that they pour inside the movie to render it more epic, more gothic, more fantastic, even than the animated series. So because as good as the animated series were, it's like this movie is, of course, it's based on it. It's the same cast, the same creators, the same team, um, and just with a bigger budget. So that first panel, that first view, moving camera inside the skyscrapers, was to tell the audience, prepare yourselves because we have a budget now. I don't know how much they had, but they had a bigger budget than the animated series, and we can see the animation is more refined. The movements, the shadows, because the amazing one of the amazing things about the animated series and all of its different components was the game of shadows. I think because they said clearly they couldn't make Batman's suit gray or black or blue because we wouldn't see, it would be invisible towards the shadows in the back or in anywhere. So because they were using a very unique kind of black ink. I'm not exactly sure, digital or on paper even. So they were using it. It was a new innovation in the world of animation for this type of material. So if you've heard any documentary about this project, about this series, about this team, this creative team, what they've achieved, it was all based on a lot. It was not easy to do it. They make their lives harder, by doing it that way, but it makes the content so rich, so much rich, so more rich, and so more compelling, and so more romantically beautiful, and uh, of course gothic, of course very dark, very gritty for a Batman that was supposed to be for kids. I remember seeing it as a kid, and I felt smarter because it was so. The characters were so refined and brilliantly written, and the action was great. The plots were great. The even the monsters of the week were great. And of course, we have the legendary cast with set by Andrea Romano. So we had Kevin Conroy, the best voice, Batman voice ever to exist. Um, we have Mark Hamill as the Joker, of course, and these two, whew, uh, they surely went at it and gave their absolute best in this movie. So yeah, that's for the opening, and of course, how can I forget the amazing, never-ending, again legendary, and I think um, will live amongst will live through many generations. And I'm of course talking about the soundtrack, the theme, the music conducted by Shirley Walker. It will live through the ages. I mean, you can see that, people are still joking about the 66 theme and the bang and the blast and everything according with that, but it's very different in the for people who grew up in the 90s like I did. um, we were treated, of course, with a lot of crap from Batman Forever and Batman and Robin, but we were because we were too young to understand Batman and Batman Returns when it got out. I've discovered it later, and I was because I remember the first time I saw Batman Returns, which is still my favorite amongst the Batman movie, co favorite with Mask of Phantasm. Um, I was the first time I saw it was I was 6 years old, and I saw it in English, and I didn't talk English. I didn't speak English at the time, and I was freaking terrified, freaking fucking terrified, uh, to no end. The Penguin was scary, Catwoman was scary. Everybody with black faces and dark makeup, and the Penguin spit in goo, and we have children's. We have electrocutions and children that are stolen, and uh, penguins with bombs, and all the gothic look of the city, and the Shrek pushing Selina out the window, and the cats bringing her back to life, and her eyes rolling, and her voice, and her stylistic suit, and wow. So I'll stay with Mask of Phantasm. It was just to say that we could not cherish it as much because we were just too young for those who grew up in those times. But and it was little bit of the same with Mask of the Phantasm because it was 95, and at 95, let's say for me, I was 8 years old. So of course I couldn't go to the movies. I didn't know it was playing in the cinema. I didn't, of course, it was no real internet at this time, so it was in the newspaper. And I mean, I never, I could never recall seeing an advertisement on TV or anywhere about this movie until I was much older. And when I discovered it, because I watched the animated series first, the animated series each Saturday. I remember when I was a kid, it was great. It was each Saturday was Christmas, and so okay, Charlie Walker team, epic, transcendent, the best Batman team ever created because it deals as much as it is epic. It is also very contorted, meaning it plays with all the facades of Bruce, all the facades of Gotham, and I think all the facades of many of his villain, mostly the Joker, because well, it's the Phantasm and the Joker in this movie. But I can't, I won't speak through the soundtrack of every Batman animated series because it's impossible. But I'll stick to this movie because when we first see the city, and we see the title. It's a new team. We've never with the core, with the chorus. We never. It was this is the first time hearing it was there, so it was great, and that made Batman again. It made what used to be a cartoon show for kids into an epic orchestra, a mythic quality for adults. So if I had listened to this as a kid, I wouldn't have caught the boldness and all the little details in it, and all the grandeur and the spectacle and everything you have within this theme, which is again so much epic. But Batman is epic as much as he is, because that's what I meant with contorted. Because I mean, for all the details, the little the many talents of Batman, all his skills. Of course, he's a detective, so when there are investigations, the team changes to something less dramatic. But Shirley Walker, I don't know how she did it. I don't know what were her inspirations, but she completely got it. And I don't know if Danny Elfman, of course, Danny Elfman was the first one, but Danny Elfman had to create music for a Tim Burton movie that was gothic and violent, but it wasn't a real movie for mainly again very dark for adults, and that had action and explosions and battles and car chases and but a real movie, not a cartoon. So, of course, he had to make it real, and he understood that Batman needed a military march for a soundtrack. But Shirley Walker could have easily, of course, they took the theme and transformed it a little for the animated series, so they kept the theme. But Shirley Walker could have stopped there. It was enough. We didn't need another team, but she did one anyway. And that's the first thing that's extraordinary about this movie, about this version of Batman, about this world of Batman, because it's a separate universe, of course. And I like my Batman like that. I like my Batman alone with no Robins, and I like my Batman around, of course, except for the Dark Knight Returns. I like it in the it's pure Batman. This version, he is already hard boiled, and he knows the streets, he knows the city, he knows the dark alleyways. He knows everything about Gotham, or so he thinks. So okay, so let's continue. Of course, the movie starts with uh, a classic theme in Gotham, which is corruption, which is something just pure by the numbers, mobsters doing mobster things, and it starts like the Batman by Matt Reeves with the best, with Batman taking down thugs, and it's great because why wait? It is classic Batman. No uppercuts, things, batarangs, using the environment to disappear, being elusive, being brutal, and of course, a never ending, you can never escape him. So, um, and the first, of course, the team changes here for the Phantasm. And so the Phantasm, the first time, non-alcoholic beer because we're talking about the cartoon. The first time I saw the Phantasm, I wasn't really a big fan when I was really young because I couldn't understand all the facets, and I couldn't understand all the layers, of course, and all the twists and then all the things, all the qualities of the story that made him a perfect foe for Batman in every way conceivable. So for me, he was just, and they say one of the main things in the movie is that everybody thinks it's Batman because from afar he looks the same. He has a cowl, he has a cape, a black cape, and he runs really fast, he jumps really fast, he uses smoke. So yeah, it's legit to think that it is Batman. So again, is it um, is it a coincidence that, of course, Batman here just takes a look and oh my God, it's Batman! Already, everybody thinks it's Batman. That he killed a mobster, and the first thing Batman does, of course, investigate, takes a piece of glass from the car, and here, why does he run? Why doesn't he run after the ghost? But so yeah, the Phantasm. So I understand that the Phantasm, spoilers, was is Andrea Beaumont, and it is so compelling to have. Uh, s- s- Batman is often played with the theme of antithesis and of because when you see who's his greatest foe, well, the Joker. Okay, well, the Joker is the antithesis of Batman. That's why he's so great, and that's why their never-ending battle, firstly, and their epic battles are legendary and always great because they are the perfect imagined in a broken mirror. They're a dark reflection of the other, but they each has everything the other doesn't. So by having the first and true uh, soulmate, because Andrea is Bruce's soulmate. That's made very clear. They don't say it, of course, verbatim, but it is very clear, and that's what makes this movie and this story so powerful because Andrea is a soulmate, and of course, um, she has. Why is she doing this? She's doing this not because only because her father was killed by the mob. she's not so one-sided. She is doing it because of the potential that she lost. And if I can just say my 2 cents about it, um, when I saw it later in my adult life, I really connected with her because I think that, yes, losing someone you care about, like, of course, a parent or a friend or a grandparent or anyone, is always tragic. But sometimes losing something that could have been hurts just as bad. Because for me, myself, in my 20s, I was sick for a very, very long time. I spent a lot of time in hospitals, and I lost a lot of years in my young life. And of course, um, that made me an alcoholic, um, which is, of course, 0%. So I still battle that to this day. So that's a fight. That's why I idealize Batman so much, because he is so perfect in every way. Even people say, well, he's too hardcore. His problem, his best quality is to be the best at everything, but that makes it far too too far on the edge that he might fall, and that he doesn't see his flaws because he cuts himself from the world. He cuts himself from a happy life he could have as a rich playboy man. He could have and buy anything and anyone and be with anywhere and do anything you want, and just be at the beach drinking martinis for the end of it to the end of his days, with a different woman every night if he wants. In 200 million penthouses in every country in the world. He could do that, but no, he chose the opposite. He chose to have the most dreadful, never-ending, everlasting battle, a battle he can't win, because he knows. Batman always knows. Even at the end of Matt Reeves' The Batman, Catwoman says the first truth that Batman already knows. This city will never change, and eventually it will kill you. And Batman knows. But that's the thing with Batman. That's what makes him so great and the better hero of any story ever created, because he still does it anyway. He cast himself from the world, he transformed his mind and his body into a vengeful spirit that cannot be blocked, that won't be killed, that will overthink, overstep, overbeat you in any way conceivable. So yeah, just to return to the theme of, and that's why he's so inspiring, and that's why through cosplay try to gain some inspiration and to replace the fake um, the fake power of substances. So yeah, so Andrea, that's why. So yes, to my original point. Sorry, uh, Andrea is she looks simple if you don't look too deep into it. But as I viewed her myself, she is just as broken as Batman. She has not, of course, gone through all the trials. Of course, we don't know because we don't see how she becomes the Phantasm. She must have gone through a lot because when we first see her in the movie, when she started going out with Bruce, And when he meets her, yeah, there's a joke about self-defense class, but she can't go toe to toe with Batman. It's ridiculous. She's a light woman, a beautiful, normal woman, not with a lot of muscle, not with a lot of skills. She walks in high heels, and she's very classic lady, and but she has a bursting charisma. The way she talks to her mother's grave, the way she always has a little wink about her, the way she always has an uplifting mood, the way even when Batman, she has such an emotional power over Batman, because she can, as much as when they first meet and and they're young, they're both younger. She when she's with Bruce, Bruce is always happy. He's always uplifted, to the point that he crashes down, and he says, that's to the most that brings us to the most powerful scene in any Batman story. I don't care where you come from. It's, in my opinion, the classic uh, best all-time scene from Batman is when, ironically, he is as Bruce Wayne, and it's raining, and he visits his parents' grave in the cemetery. And I like that their grave is in a cemetery and not on his lawn like in the Nolan trilogy. That was so stupid. Oh, I know I have to do the review of the trilogy sometimes, but I feel it brings me so down that I'll have to drink myself to do it, or to punish myself to be able to go through them, because sorry, just checking if the camera, yeah, still working good. Yeah, I don't like Nolan's trilogy at all. So the best all-time scene is, of course, when Bruce Wayne crashes down on his knees, and in the raining, stormy night, in the dark, of the dark of the darkness of Gotham City, when Gotham City's even meteorology comes crashing down, everything is against him. He goes to the grave of his parents and says, I can't do it anymore. I know I made a promise to change things, to have an effect, like Matthew said, and that was one of the best phrases of the new dialogue of the Batman in Matt Reeves' The Batman, because I never read or heard that word, the effect. And when I saw it, I knew exactly what he meant. But it was so simple, but it was just, like Joker says, a poor choice of words. But there, it was the best choice of word. And just to have an effect. So that, because that's what Batman's promise was to his parents. How did he say it? How did he phrase it? I'm gonna be I'm gonna be somebody that will be higher than the police and have a greater advantage, because I'm rich, and I'll be a special force to reckon with, that I will combat criminals. Yeah, but yeah, you can say all of these things, but when we see Batman right in the Mask of the Phantasm, we're back in. Uh, Batman tries to many things go through his mind. He has Andrea, of course, that is wearing, not to say that negatively, but she's wearing on him so heavily, because Batman, from the age of 10, when he saw his parents gone down, never again was happy. Never again. He learned to fake it very, very well. he learned to chase it with with his playboy persona, with sleeping with women left and right just to for the sake of appearances. But he wasn't happy once, and that's another tragedy about Batman, and that's another thing that makes him so iconic. You know, many call Matt Reeves as the Batman gut or emo. And I'll say, yeah, Batman is very emo. Batman is a crushed, tormented soul. You can go through more. I mean, to go through that punishment voluntarily, even if you have the best training, the best gadgets, the best suit, the best mind, the best strategy, the best. When he goes back home and takes the suit off, he is never happy. Alfred won't make him happy. Alfred tries really hard, but that's what beats down Alfred so much too, because he knows that Bruce has chosen a life that will only bring him nothing but sorrow and blood and um, demons and really nightmares, living nightmares. Even, I mean, I don't know how much Alfred thought he would last. That's a particular thing I always thought of with Batman. I mean, Batman when he started, let's say in year one, how long did him and Alfred, because they don't speak about it. I've never seen again in a comic or in a movie or in a cartoon ever addressing that subject. How long do you think you can last this way? Because in Matt Reeves' The Batman, it's year two, and he is in his suit going on patrol every single night without a stop, without a pause, without a day off. He is always, every night, active. And of course, it's something we take for granted with Batman. And but is it? First, how I mean, of course, he must have gained confidence after years and years and getting and refining his practice and refining his tools and refining his knowledge of the city and of the criminal element and with getting gadgets, with the Batmobile, with the Batwing, with everything. He had a better control, better sources, better relationship with Jim Gordon, and at first Harvey Dent, and the lawmakers who could be on his side, even if he was vigilante. So, but I'm sure that I'm sure he'll never say it. He won't. I don't think he would acknowledge it, that he asked himself this question, because of course I'm just imagining a scene that Alfred goes to him and says, "Sir, how long do you think you can get? How long do you think you can keep things going like this? How long do you think you can last?" We know he's in Matthews the Batman, very young. He's 27 years old, or just about to be 27. Do you think he'll last one more year? 5 more years? 15 more years? And even if he lasts 15 years, do you think Gotham will be clean? And I'm saying sober, like city can be sober, but I mean, you know what I mean. I mean, do you think he will rinse the street of all its blood? And do you think the mobster will say, "I'm out of here," and go away because of the endless beatings? And do you think that the corrupt politicians will seize their everything, the bad things they do. And of course, the answer is no. And of course, the answer is Batman will probably say, "I'll last forever." And then we can say, well, your symbol, your persona will endure, like in Batman Beyond. It's not him anymore, of course, because it's physically impossible. But so in his mind, at this stage, because Mask of the Phantasm gives us, at the same time with the main story, well, a well, a veteran. He's a veteran. He's at the like the he's in a good age. He's in good form. He's not in his beginning. He's not in his end. He's in the good, the greatest form, we'll say. But we also have a few flashbacks of him at year zero. So when he's starting to get in the mindset and have the ideas and have the will, he has the craving to do something, the craving to become more. But so so what I want to say is that, does he? I mean, it's probably like being a cop or a spy or something that is as well, not equally dangerous, but very dangerous. It's like, how long do you think you can keep this up? Or a soldier in the army, it's the same thing. You can get killed any day on the job, just like Batman. So I don't have this mindset. I don't have this experience or this knowledge, so I don't know. But when I think about Batman and everything I know about him, uh, I don't think he was thinking of someone, uh, firstly, a Robin or someone to help him. I think he would say it's would be completely wrong, and I think he would say, "I'll do it forever, and I'll do it until I can't walk anymore." And he doesn't care about it. He doesn't. He says, "I'll do how much damage I can do for every day and till every last second I can, till every last breath I can give." I think that's what his answer would be. So, but I don't think he thinks about it. It's just a parenthesis to get that idea out, because this movie this movie brings a lot of elements from the mythos, because it's such a pillar. It plays with so much of the foundation and the creation and the evolution, mentally and emotionally, of Batman, that that's why it spawns out ideas out of nowhere, like I just talk about for 10 minutes without returning to the movie. So we have, first, a lawyer that is, of course, like, there's always one character like this in every Batman. It's the lawyer type enemy, that the politician against the vigilante idea, and the vigilante principle, and the fact that, he says it himself. Most of people say, in my circles, people say Batman is just as dangerous as the criminals he brings in. And of course, he is technically right. And Gordon, there, he says Gordon doesn't kill. It's not the Batman, and Gordon's instincts are right. And of course, Bullock hides himself. I like this detail. It's perfectly Bullock. He says he is with Jim, but when he goes down, He's not. Yeah, I'm not really here. Yeah, don't mind me. And uh, and I like Alfred a lot because I think in this movie it's the perfect Alfred, much like Michael Goff is in the Burton Batman, because he is, um, of course, Batman is in his investigation, and Alfred doesn't understand what he's saying. He says, "Yes, of course, you're right, Master Wayne. Yes, yes, good job, Master Wayne. Keep up, keep it up, keep it up." But and of course, there's a little uh, the flavor between the two that is always amazing, always great. But Batman, I think with the animated series Alfred and Mask of the Phantasm Alfred and the Burton Alfred, I love him the most because as much as they tried to give emotional punch in the Nolan trilogy, they tried hard, and it doesn't have a tenth of the effect that this Alfred has. I don't know who does his voice. Unfortunately, I will. I just don't know, but he's perfect, and he gives us a perfect balance of, um, of course, father figure, but he's almost too old. And that's the thing you got to be careful with Alfred and Bruce is the difference of ages. And sorry guys, I just have to pause for a second. I'll be back. You won't know how fast I am. Okay, we're back. So yeah, the difference in age for Alfred. Um, I think that was it. In the animated series, I think, especially in year zero, I think it's always perfect. Yeah, always have the same, like, I'd say third. Well, let's put a specific number. It doesn't matter, but um, sorry guys, still getting the hang of it of the camera and the talking. Okay, so it's an important point because I think Michael Caine by the end, of course, it took well, six. No, no, the Nolan's trilogy went from 2004 5 to 2012, so that's like 8 years. So, but Michael Caine at the end was a little too old, and because of course they went for a stupid, lazy, stupid time gap of 8 years that it is not Batman. Even Bruce starting to have gray hair. It's like, what the hell is this? But yeah, and as much as they tried the emotional gut punch with their separation, I hated it because Alfred would never fucking quit. That's the thing they have in common. Batman won't quit, and Alfred won't quit Batman. You can. It's at its core. Since the death of the Waynes, Alfred is his father, being it uh, metaphorically or sometimes real. Not always, but he is always a mix or one of the two. So and I don't like well in Matri's Batman it's all right because it's a new take. Yes, Alfred has trained Bruce because he was a military agent in his youth, but so that's fine. But I don't like this version of Batman works the best because it's the most classical, the most faithful version, um, the most perfectly crafted. Um, and yeah, so Batman, so Alfred is Alfred has a lot on his plate, and that's one thing. Like Michael Goff will do everything for Bruce and Batman effortlessly. It seems effortless, but it's really not. It hangs heavy on him too, of course, because every time Batman quits the cave, anything goes. Doesn't know if he'll see him again. He doesn't know if he'll eat or sleep today or tomorrow, because sometimes just doesn't. Uh, he doesn't know. I mean, what will happen with any aspect of his life, because Bruce is so consumed by his real persona, his real facade, by the bat, that he doesn't know. So that's a underrated thing about Alfred that isn't often explored, and I hope that in Matt Reeves' trilogy, and I wish more than a trilogy, I'll because it wasn't there a lot for the first film, because Bruce was not there in the first film, and that's great. That was great. That was appropriated for this movie, for this era of a new Batman. But as he gets older and more as Alfred gets a bigger role, I hope they'll travel in these areas of narrative. But just right back to Mask of the Phantasm. So of course, so Alfred, yes, he has the banter, he has he has the jokes, he is light-hearted, and his light-hearted dialogue um, contrasts very well and lighten Batman's gravity, just to ease things a little bit. But when Batman wants what Batman wants, he gets it, whatever Alfred says or does. So that's both things that works well, because the first time we see Alfred in this movie, uh, Bruce is working on his computer as Bruce Wayne. He doesn't have his suit, so their dialogue is a lot lighter, and he's a lot. Even Bruce smiles, so both are smiling. So that's an interesting point, I think. Well, for my part, for the in the defense of Alfred, that is such an important character that people, I think, a little bit takes for granted, and uh, I would like at the end of if Matt Reeves can do a long saga for the Dark Knight, I would be happy if Alfred in the end died, like in the Dark Knight Returns. Um, it would be because it was very heartbreaking, but it was his time, and I love the way they do it. They did it, and I would be very, very interested to see, maybe not dying, but something as critical, or something that he cannot be there for him anymore, and that Batman doesn't have that support. And that was just a reference again, the fucking Nolan trilogy. I mean, when Batman says he doesn't have keys when they go and fuck Miranda Tate and the uh, he says he never. I don't have any keys. Never needed them before because now Alfred is gone. It's so. It makes a point, but it's so stupidly done. It's ugh. Okay, but that speaks a little bit because of course Bruce has his keys of the manor, and has he, like in Matt Reeves' The Batman, he drives his own car. but we were used to always see Alfred driving Bruce. But no, Bruce can do things on its by himself. He is not a fucking child. So yeah, I love this version of Alfred, and we will speak of Alfred a little bit later. I was just wanted to speak about the contrast, like in Batman '89 and Batman Returns. He helps Batman in his when Batman's on the call, he's on the road, he's on patrol. Alfred is not useless. Alfred has skills, and I know that in the Burton era, we don't know what skills he has perfectly, but we just know that we can count on him, and that's enough. So back to Mascot of Phantasm. Of course, Bruce is completely in his role. He has all his personas. He has in the real time, not in the flashbacks, but in the real time story. So I love the scene where he is stormed by women from everywhere, and that one woman throws her wine in his face because that's another one he just used and let go of to again to keep his fake persona alive. And as a contrast again, Bruce Wayne, the flesh, meets the politician that is against him. And another twist here is that that's the first time they reference Andrea Beaumont. And yeah, how did you lost her? Yeah, thanks for the handkerchief. You know when you can stick it. Great call for a cartoon. And there, just saying her name, just summoning the thought of Andrea, because Bruce, of course, he's just waiting for everybody to get the hell out so that he can go to the cave and put his mask on. That's all he's waiting for. He, he wakes up late. He parties with ginger ale instead of champagne, and he gets a fake smile and a fake call. Gives his number to a few ladies, and for makes writes a few checks for charities and blah blah blah. Sign wine industry's papers, blah blah blah. And then, as soon as everyone is gone, down he goes to the Batcave and going on patrol. So yeah, just that speaks to the power and the script, but also of the character, because we don't know who Andrea is. I mean, we saw her in a plane looking at Bruce on a magazine, but we don't. I mean, she said she knew him. She talked with the politician, and yes, she seems he's referencing Bruce. We can elaborate that they had a some kind of relationship of something, but it's not explained at all. It's so now it's the first time we just by saying her name, Andrea Beaumont, and looking back at my knowledge of the comics and of anybody, I went like, Andrea Beaumont, who the hell is that? And just summoning her name, Bruce is like, of course, he keeps a smile from the party, but as soon as he shutted the door behind him, he is demolished. His posture, his great Batman physique is crooked down. His face is so sad, so distraught, so much things that you're not supposed to. So much. I want to say. Um, Okay, my words in English. I don't want to miss this one. He's vulnerable. Thank you, brain. He becomes so vulnerable. Just she didn't imagine if she had appeared through a door to the just came to the party. Hey, Bruce, been a long time. It would have been fireworks. I mean, I don't know what would have happened. Just summoning her name puts Bruce in such a desperate and depressed state that we were like, okay, this is not anybody. So, and there he goes, and again, perfect setup. He goes in the room, closes the door, casts his shadow on the ground, and where does he end up? At the portrait of his mother and father, and just flashes back to the past with his sad, 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 crushed. Oh my God, he's so demolished. And we cut back from the portrait of his mother and father to a young Bruce in front of their grave. And that's the first time we see Andrea Beaumont, who is similarly to Bruce, talking, well, visiting the grave of her mother. So she also has known loss. And already, just with her bright blue eyes and her voice, there's such distinct, again, I could say charisma, but it's too easy. Her voice and her demeanor, it's so it's so empowering, and it's so easy to listen to. It's like a great it's like I could imagine her being a motivation coach or something like that. Even if when she's sad, she always has a pitch in her voice that is so unique, and she always has the perfect comeback. And she plays with Bruce, and she's the first woman that is smart enough and clever enough to know who he is, not get caught in it. And Bruce isn't used to that. Bruce is used to um, women falling in his lap and just being too enthralled by his by who he is. And of course, as soon as he talks to her, what does Gotham do? Creating black clouds. And we immediately cut to his first night, year zero. Like a better Batman Begins, because he has the same clothes, the ski mask, the he has his gadget belt, and he's gonna just stop a crime. So, and we know it's the first time, year zero, because he says, "Okay, Bruce, here it goes. It's all or nothing." So, and he goes, and of course, criminals don't take him seriously. Yeah, so he's outnumbered, outgunned, out everything, and it's his first time, so he's quite nervous. But he gets it because his training is so good. And oh, gets hit a few times. That also a great, perfect fight, perfect, perfect sequence, perfect odds for a Batman Year Zero. Again, a gun. Guns are extremely, extremely dangerous because he's in a coat. He's just in a coat, and he doesn't let he beats every guy, and he doesn't let one go. It's his first night. He's so on adrenaline. He's so, oh, I have to succeed. I have to succeed, and he doesn't let go. And in the end he gets what he wants, and he's able to succeed. But what he doesn't have is that they weren't afraid of him. So yeah, and he didn't kill anybody. So and Alfred has his, again, the age. Alfred has his black hair, so he's still, in his 50s probably, while Bruce in his uh, late 20s, and he's practicing his jiu-jitsu in the backyard. And who comes? Andrea. And again, how did she just walked on the grounds? Aren't Isn't there security? I mean, because I don't think many people know that Bruce Wayne is a black belt in jiu-jitsu. It would be a little bit, if anybody in Gotham knew that, they could say, "Oh yeah, well, there's thousands of black belts in Gotham. So we don't care." So yeah, but the Playboy, I don't care. Ever has everything in the world. Why does he train jujitsu? Why is he a black belt in martial arts and trains in the backyard with injuries when a crime just happened last night? It's a little bit. Of course, it's suspension as disbelief with every superhero story, but I it just talks to this movie that, of course, there are cameras on Wayne Manor. Of course, there's security. Of course, there's everything. And and Wayne Manor in this movie is very isolated and near the water, so there's not a lot of roads. There's only one road that come through, and there are gates and everything. So of course, I like to think that the only way she could have gone through all that and go and visit Bruce in his while he doesn't want to be disturbed is because maybe he wanted her to come back. Maybe I'm completely wrong, but I like to think I'm right. So yeah, no phone calls. I figured you were dead or something. Again, with the banter, she is very light-hearted, but and she makes a joke and said jujitsu is no joke, and she takes him, and she knows a little bit too, and she says she's a self-defense class for girls, and we can't. He laughs, and he laughs. Bruce laughs. Who's made Batman laughs? Laugh. Alfred and Andrea. That's it. I have never seen Bruce laugh. Bruce laughing at any other time. Uh, Truthfully, I mean. Of course, with his persona, he laughs with everyone and everything, but he's faking it. But genuine laugh, Alfred and Andrea. And of course, he is disturbed in his memories by some lady dancing on the piano because everybody's drunk. And he says, well, that was the time for the past. So, second, of course, now we know the pattern that the Phantasm is targeting the mob, and he is again for a cartoon. The way that he dies, the first one was crashing a car through buildings, was while flying like 50 floors, was already quite extreme. And now in the grave, in the dirt, with the marble statue crushing him, it's very violent for, again, a cartoon. So now the mob bosses are getting and it's ironic because that's what Batman knows. I mean, it the Phantasm uh, brings out what the mobsters think in their head. But usually they say, well, he's crazy, we have to be careful, we have to gun him down as soon as we see him, but we know he doesn't kill. So that's a thing that the mobsters and criminals can count on. They said, well, at least I may go to prison or get beat up, but he won't kill me because he doesn't do that. But now the Phantasm is killing everybody, and they see that in the papers. And and the subconscious state that told them, oh, yeah, he's a fucking psycho, but at least he doesn't kill. But now it's look like he's beginning to kill. Oh, now we're panicking. Now we need our oxygen because now it is getting really nuts because we can't stop, we haven't stopped Batman before, and if he decides to kill us, well, we are in deep, deep shit. And of course, Batman investigating the murder again. He's in the cemetery, and what's in the cemetery? His parents' grave every time. He doesn't have to be in Wayne courtyard to see his parents' grave. He goes to the cemetery like every other civilian. And again, with a perfect call for the flashback, black sky, but instead of being in young Bruce, he is in Batman. But Andrea is more or less the same. And she already knows just by looking at the and it's another thing like people don't recognize Batman from his voice or his chin or his stature or yeah, who has a Batmobile and planes and crazy gadgets and a dark past. They say, yeah, Bruce Wayne. Well, people don't make the connection. It's like Superman. But I think Batman is a lot miles better than Superman. But anyway, but again, who knows Batman the best? Bruce, who knows Bruce the best, and can make an easy connection that he's Batman and not be surprised at all. Andrea, and that's why again, what makes a character so great is because it is her intelligence, but it's most of all her feelings for Bruce. And that's something that never happened before in any, even with Catwoman, even with, say who you want, Vicky Vale, Selena Kyle, Michelle Pfeiffer. We won't talk about the Schumacher ones. Who understands Batman the best? Not his mind, not his fighting abilities, not his money, his power, his influence, his anything, his everything that he is, his soul. Who is the only person to know about Bruce Wayne's soul? Andrea Beaumont. And there he spies on her because Batman's getting a little. Well, Batman will say, "Oh, I'm just following a clue," but we'll say, "Batman, you're jealous." And he has reasons to be because now we have another flashback, and all the flashbacks are so great, and it's Gotham World's Fair. And the World's Fair again, a dream of the future, a bright tomorrow, and that again that hits a chord with Bruce because it's not just the retro style. Well, it is that. It is an introduction to you see the small the decor, the city decorum, the gothic skyscrapers, um, even you see a first prototype of the Batmobile, and it says automobile of the future. So, and Bruce is very young, so that World's Fair, uh, the team here at the World Fair, yeah, there is the retro architecture, there is the underlying tech and appearance of Gotham, but most of all, it means it puts the word future in Bruce's mind, and that brings him back to, well, my future is pretty predetermined because I want to fight for my parents. But now I'm here not alone, but with Andrea, and now everything's getting quicker and going quicker and quicker. And I kiss her, and oh, I have to meet the father, and oh my God, this breaks my plan up. And so, what happens to my future? My future that was so clear, and I was so focused, and I've begun training for, and of course, Alfred says it perfectly. See, Bruce says, "Oh my God, I must be getting nuts, staying with this one, staying with this girl, uh, getting getting her so much in, so close to me. Uh, yeah, just getting her in, just letting her in. I mean, it was great in Batman '89 when Vicky Vale came in and she says, "Why won't you just let me in?" And he says, "You are, but he's out there, and I've got to go to work." So she gets in a little bit, but she doesn't touch his core at all. Andrea touches his core. Andrea is so much the perfect dream that he thought would never happen. He didn't even had a clue. Bruce didn't have a theory that could happen. He didn't have the slightest the slightest sentiment about it. Bruce's mind was, I'm gonna fight for my parents. I don't have the methods or the means yet, but I'm training and I'm sure that's what I'll do one way or the other. But now uh, he's beginning to be very close. His relationship with Andrea is developing and very fast for him because for him it's already so new, but at this speed, but yeah, and we see first thing he sees is a complete contradiction. It's another mobster because her father is in high finance, and he sees a gang. So that brings back the dilemma, the contradictions in Bruce's young life. He's with Andrea, and she says, "No, no, no, stay here. You're gonna get beat up. You're gonna get hurt." And but he says, "I have to go. I have to help him. I have no choice." So bang, and he fights with the goons, and we see he has started training because he's able to take them. He has the martial arts posture. He's able to fight like 3 or 4 guys, so we know he's already beginning. And he has the Batman eyes, the Batman looks like, come here, come here, come and get me. You'll see what happens to you. But what stops him from being perfect and winning the fight? What is the only thing that can distract him at this very instant? Well, just the bright blue eyes, the most um, just the presence, just her being there. The distraction gets hit, breaks down, loses the cash to the thugs, and he's all beat down, and he lost, and he lost because he was distracted by his love, and that's when he's angry. Andrea, please, he said he's angry. He's not angry at her, but he's angry at himself. The next thing he does is so Andrea came in his life exactly when he was formulating the thoughts of the revenge plan, the Gotham's project, the creature, the vigilante, the way to strike, the way to beat up, not beat up criminals, but the way to make, again, to have an effect, to change Gotham for the better. Money doesn't work. Money gets corrupt. Money gets, again, like he says, I can give money to the city, and lightning cracks on Wayne's tomb, on Wayne's grave, because no, money won't solve the problem. It won't solve it in a normal city, and certainly not in Gotham City. So no, money won't do it. So there we have the perfect scene right after, and he says it doesn't hurt so bad anymore. I don't think he meant that. I think he's trying to convince himself of that. And yeah, so that's real. It's different now. You have to understand. And the best line ever in any Batman material, I know I made a promise, but I didn't see this coming. I didn't count on being happy. Best line, completely um, addresses a portrait of Batman, of um, his internal fight, because Batman Batman's exploits in fight and in uh, crime fighting and investigations, that's all good and well, but his introspective fights, his internal dilemmas and punishments, and he is constantly, he looks masterful and perfect, but he is constantly at odds with himself, and that makes him just more angry, and he likes being angry, so that's perfect for him. So again, corruption comes. And he says, yeah, Batman's a freak job, he's gonna kill us all. Batman is trying. Now we're back in real time, and Batman is putting together the pieces that all of these mobsters were on the picture of. When he finds the picture of Andrea's father, uh, swarmed by mobsters, he makes the connection that every mobster who gets killed was in this picture. And the next on the list, he has his little bright pencil, and the next on his list is the Joker. You realize the Joker, well, again, year zero, Joker before he was the Joker. Joker, when in this version, like in many versions of the Batman mythos, was just a mobster, a criminal, a gangster, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, he finds the picture, and that's Andrea's father, and another flashback. So that's when, yeah. So we arrive at the proposal. So Batman has made his choice. He thinks his parents will understand. Well, the crazy ghost parents that still have power over him, parents. I'm changing the plan. And as soon as he changes the plans, the bats came out, raging out of the cave and blackening the sky. And the spirit of his parents must have said to the bats, send him the message. So again, and fate, really, this movie plays with a lot of ideas relating to fate. And of course, Bruce, Bruce, I think, is more a little more of a philosopher. Bruce, because Bruce fights and wrestles with things that are not real often, really often, like a cave filled with bats. It's like, yeah, okay. Um, there are a lot of them in around the world. I mean, what do you care about bats in a cave? Okay, they're on your property. What do you care about that? Why do you care? And Bruce is really again a philosopher. He says, well, there must be a reason. There must be a reason. Why did they show up exactly at the time? Bruce always says the criminal are very superstitious, but Batman is just as superstitious. Maybe not in the same way. He's 1,000 times smarter than criminals, but he says, I mean, every time he goes at his parents' grave, it's killing him, and he still goes, and he still, even if he doesn't talk aloud to them most of the time. When he's in Batman, when he was Bruce, before he was Batman, he was talking to them. But since he has become Batman, he has visited his parents' grave, and he doesn't speak because he's the Batman now. And the Batman is over that. Batman is has no fear, has no doubt, has no love. All he has is lust and vengeance and willpower. He is a relentless willpower machine that you won't stop, and that nothing can get him out of the way of what he wants. No clown, no criminal, no deadly foe, no gunman, no martial artist, no spy, no monsters in Gotham, no crazy Riddler, no whatever. He will go through the door. But when he takes his mask off and he goes back in time, in his mind, again, in his mind, every one of these scenes is happening in his mind. So again, why is he? I mean, of course, a lot of people are like that. A lot of introverted people, because I think Batman is introverted. He keeps things inside. So Bruce Wayne, the persona Playboy, is completely extroverted, but Bruce Wayne, the real Bruce Wayne, is really introverted, and he only speaks sometimes to Alfred, and that's it. He doesn't want to speak to anybody else. He doesn't need to. The only person he speaks to are the criminals to say, you're down. Or if you don't, if you're not, you will be soon. So, yeah, I think, so, yeah, the only point I want to touch with that is that Batman um, uses fate, the concept of fate, as a chain to his ankles. He's like a prisoner. Fate is dooming over dooming over him. It's the black skies in Gotham. It's the bats that came out of the cave that just could any other person could have looked at it and said, "Oh well," and continue their life. But no, Batman is completely thrown off by this vision because he's concerned is convinced that they have a meaning and that this meaning is for him, and that's so. I mean, and yeah, and for Andrea, it's the complete opposite. Andrea says fate doesn't happen, people happen, because stole what could have been, what stole her life, her beautiful, perfect life with Bruce, mobsters that killed her father. What it was just as simple as that. She got ripped apart through and through by evil. And so that's why she wants retribution, and that's why she kills, because in her mind, again, everything goes. Why should she show pity? She wanted her life with Bruce more than anything, just like Bruce wanted life with her more than anything. Enough to let go of the bat, let go of the when he proposed to her, he wasn't the Batman yet. But what stopped it? Bats. So again, he was as far it is as if the proposal and the ring was a metaphysical calling for him to tell the memory of his parents, and he probably sees them as an angel in the sky. I don't know. Or just a presence that overlooms his every thought, and they're always looking at him like almost God fearing. But God is for Batman. God is his parents. They tell him right from wrong. They tell him if they're happy or not. All he wants is to please them. So like a religion almost. But it's his parents. He doesn't talk about God. He doesn't talk. Maybe he believes. Maybe that. It's not my point. So I'm just saying that the difference because between Bruce Wayne's idea of fate and Andrea, his counterpart idea of fate. And Andrea, it was very. They don't say how she lost her mother. I don't remember if they talk about it in the movie. I don't think so. But her father, she straight. The I think it's the Joker, the proto Joker that killed his father when they were escaping them, trying to escape them. So and this momentum of vengeance came, and there she decides to again antithesis of Bruce, become an angel of vengeance, but that killed without remorse, without anything else than wanting revenge for what could have been. Just a sec. Okay, just to be sure I was recording. Yeah, so again, that's a very, very important part of the psyche of the two, because in the end they're like a perfect puzzle piece that fits together in all the chaos of Gotham and of their complicated lives and their traumas and the everything that happened to them, which is a little bit similar. They both lost their parents to criminals, and but Andrea was even almost more hurt than Batman, because Batman decided on the no kill rule. He decided to fight with honor. He decided to fight uh, to, 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 to become a symbol of hope. And Andrea was in the antithesis. Even her mask, it's she looks like death. She looks like the horseman of the apocalypse, and her mask and her cape and her smoke and everything looks like she disappeared, like a ghost, like a demon. But she kills. She kills right when she can. No, no afterthought. I just kill. Good on me. And that's why. Well, we'll continue on little things we have to touch, and we'll get to their future personas and their future interactions a little bit later. So, of course, one of the most, well, the most powerful. I said the tombstone in the rain, was the better written scene in all of Batman material, anytime, anywhere, any form, but the most powerful, symbolic, and themic, the most uh, gorgeous, um, the most powerful, just say powerful scene ever done was Batman putting his suit. We don't have to say it, we know it's the first time, and he's all in the shadows, and he looks at his mask, and he puts it on, and the music brings in, and he watches with his black eyes, and Alfred is completely scared to death. And Bruce knows that he has succeeded in creating the image, that persona that will put the fear in the heart of the criminals. So the score is ridiculous. It is when you conduct a symphony, and the song is called "The Birth of Batman." You have to bring it, and she brought it better than anybody else, in my opinion. And I just hope that someday, someone in the Batman movies, future movies, will make her a tribute in the soundtrack, just for a few seconds. Like, I mean, goddamn, if Zack Snyder can use the Danny Elfman team in Justice League, that pile of garbage, and the Superman team from from the 70s, in that crap, you won't tell me that Matt Reeves can put a little bit of Shirley Walker sometimes in the future. I mean, it would be absolutely orgasmic. So now things go. I mean, mobsters are in pure. They're afraid. The list is kind of becoming short. The mobsters are getting killed and killed and killed, and so in their desperation, they go to the only guy who can get, well, as close as to get the job done, and that's the Joker. And they bring him, of course. I like how it shows that they still, after all these years, don't understand the Joker. They bring him money, and Joker just yawns. It's like, what am I, pest control? It's like, money. Are you fucking? Joker doesn't care about money. And it's the greatest of the greatest. Mark Hamill doing amazing lines, amazing animation, amazing gags. But when he has to be feared and scary, he is, with the score and his laugh and the lightning that strikes. It is extremely, extremely sadistic. Um, so yeah, and again, why does the Joker has his headquarters in the Gotham Sphere? The Gotham Sphere that is now in ruins. So what happened to it? Well, just like decadence, the decadence of Gotham, and it touched the future. And we could say just like Batman and Andrea's future was ruined. And that place they visited long ago in their youth, when they were so happy and planning their future, is now in shambles, just like in real life. So it's another symbolic thing. Maybe I'm looking too far into it. Excuse me. But that's what I see. That's what I think to like. That's why this movie is so great. You can a nice big smile in oops. So now another one of my favorite scenes because it shows perfectly the difference between the interaction, what an interaction looked like with Andrea and Bruce in their youth, but now it's Andrea and Batman in their adult age, and so we meet again. And now, for the first time, for the first time in her life, that Andrea sees Bruce, she has no smile. She's not in the mood. She has no patience. She looks like he's not important to her. She pours herself a drink. She doesn't care. She says, "Go the fuck away." And she's the complete opposite. And Batman has to get furious for her to open her mouth. And the first thing she says is, "Get out. Get out." And she says, "The only one who is controlled by her parent, by his parents, is you." And he growls because she's right. And she keeps her demeanor, and she keeps it, and she keeps it, and she keeps it, and she keeps it. And as soon as she approaches the glass to her lips, purrs down, crashes down in the bed, crying her heart out. And what does she do after crying her heart out? For the first time, because it's the first time she saw Bruce again for real, and she has her first interaction since they lost everything, and so of course she tears. Of course she's in tears. And what does she do to combat these tears? Well, she puts on the Phantasm mask. So there she goes for Sal, but the Joker has already killed him. Again, very cartoony but very graphic, and it's just the Joker drug that killed him with a big smile and a camera, and bombs are on their way because Joker likes his cameras and he likes his bombs. So, and of course, that's another smart thing, just a camera. So now Joker knows that it's not a Batman that's killing them. So he's the first to get this truth. So the Joker is clever in that story. And then again with the skyscrapers, and we see the Batwing in action. My favorite version of the Batwing. Don't care about Nolan's trilogy. Don't care about. I mean, Keaton's was pretty badass, but I preferred a little bit Keaton's Batmobile, but the Batwing, this Batwing has a special place in my heart because I had the toy. I played with the toy with countless hours. It was first confrontation, physical confrontation between the two, and they go pretty head to head. But of course, I think for and again, this movie is so fluid. It's every scene perfectly. It's every scene just builds up and builds up and builds up. Maybe emotionally, scarily, or like now we're in the action. Now we're in the 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 first time in Batman's future years that he's very very much in trouble because with I just want to say with all her skills, I don't think Andrea could really. I know she knows she couldn't win a physical fight against Batman, so she had to use her mist and disappear. And then Batman, oof, almost shot by the police, so they're not kidding. And it's again another thing. You bring all of those elements I've been talking about for I don't know how long, and now we have the. Not only do we have the best love story, the best setup, the best villain, we have the Joker, against him. But now we have the police uh, and the SWAT teams that have completely um, circling him from everywhere, and just I love this detail. Just one crazy guy start shooting, and Bullock is like, "Hey, wait, what the fuck are you doing?" And he just hits a fucking gas tank, and it explodes, and just that is enough. So in all, because that's why the animated series Batman is so perfect, because he is vulnerable at certain times. He doesn't have a plot armor. He doesn't. I mean, he is in a abandoned construction site, and a crazy SWAT guy touches a bomb, a canister that explodes. That's it. That's it. But Batman's rules, Batman's strategy makes him escape, because he attached his cape along a cord. But now another extremely tense. It's the most tense scene in a Batman movie I've ever seen. Batman unmasked, running away from cops with nothing. He has his belt, but what's he gonna do? He is hurt. He's bleeding. Everything. There's he is running in dark alleyways, and he is lost. By the end, he's bleeding too much. His vision is blurry, and who saves him? Andrea, because she knows he's Batman, so she knew where to keep him, because she just fought him few minutes ago. So she just took off her suit and followed him, and then it's very nice because just like that, just because Alfred puts the bandages and say, "Yep, I'll leave you two together." Yeah, you have an excellent sense of timing. Yeah, you don't say. And makes perfect sense that she makes him believe that the Phantasm is her father, because she it's perfectly normal. And well, I think because even for the first time people see this movie, I mean, sorry I didn't say spoiler, but I mean, yeah, and we know she tries to karate chop a mobster, and she gets strangled, and her father is on his knees, and he lies to the mob to make them leave because he can't have the money in time. But all of this is a lie, of course. And it makes perfect sense. It was the perfect twist, because even her voice, the voice of the Phantasm, is Andrea's father's voice, with a filter. And so it makes perfect sense for Batman to think that he is facing Andrea's father, and Andrea is just a sweet, innocent girl that he knew from her past, with now this crazy. So that's it. He says she makes him believe he's her father, and she doesn't show her cards, because Bruce Wayne has no more secrets for Andrea. But Andrea still keeps secrets because she's in grief, and her grief is still too. Uh, she still too in early, and she tears again, because her quest against mobsters is almost at the end. So she says, "Well, now that I've done my purpose, I've done what I wanted to accomplish." We get the same scene, the same perfect vision but they're just older. And Batman, great scene, just gorgeous. Even 30 years later, it's still, the animation is gorgeous. In the side of the on the sea, uh, eh, early in the morning, she's just in a little shirt and she's drinking coffee, and Bruce just looks at her by the window and smiles. Because again, who can make Batman smile? Because right now he is Batman. He has no secrets from her. He has no face to put on. He can just be himself, and he could never. That's the only thing. And as soon as she goes, Batman again falls into doubt. Everything's happening so fast, like always with Air Andrea. It's always too fast. It's always unpredictable, and Batman hates what is unpredictable. He likes to be in control. He likes to uh, leave nothing to chance. He has to know all the issues, all, all the exits, all the skills, how many men are in front of him, how many guns, what do they have, how many cars they have. He always wants to know everything to have an edge on his opponents. But Andrea, sorry, no pun intended, Andrea completely disarms Batman because everything else he has nothing. He has no power over her. Not that he wants to, but Batman is completely open, honest. She could ask him any question and he would tell her the truth. The only one lying in their relationship is her, because she still has to protect his secret for a little bit of time. Because now she has to kill the last one, and the last one Batman just found out. The last mobster on the list, on the picture, the last one who was responsible for the death of his father, and of course the death of his father is tragic, yes, but for the destruction, who is the man most? Because he was there in the end, he was the last one at the scene, and he was the apple munching gangsters going out of the crime scene. Who was it? Who is the one most responsible for the destruction of her life, of her love, of the children she could have had, the beautiful um, fairy tale she could have lived with Bruce, soulmate with soulmate. What to destroy it all? Joker. So now she has to go against Joker, but Joker is much more dangerous than your average mobster. So that's why at the end they have to come together, and Batman finds the truth, and it is heartbreaking. And of course, the Joker almost kill Andrea, but Batman saves her at the final time, and we have the of course, he poisons the politician who Batman interrogates, and that he reveals that Beaumont couldn't, that he committed treason by telling the mob where they were hidden, Andrea and her father. So that was his fault. But he is already Joker poisoned, and Batman has the information he wanted. So that's this part of this investigation is done. And when she returns to search in Andrea's room, the telephone calls, and again more bombs, and now just with a comeback, we see Andrea in a black suit with the black sky in the where in the future world, in the Gotham Warfare, and we have Joker just playing with his robot wife, and because she's coming for him. So now the Phantasm comes to the Joker. It's the final confrontation. Of course, Joker has already figured out that it was her. It was Andrea. So I'm impressed, lady. You're harder to kill than a cockroach on steroids. Great. I know it's such a serious point of the movie, but Mark Hamill just kills it. It's crazy. Yeah. So she has a dog with the Joker, and of course, what makes I like that her steam, her power. Of course, I can blow smoke too. So you see, Joker has his Batman as his martial arts, the Phantasm as his invisible gas, choking gas, and Joker as his acid flower. So they all use that again in the most appropriate time, and it works. And then another perfect joke, and the robots attack her, but just um, so of course, physically, skillfully, she's beating him down, bang, bang, bang. Of course, a great Joker joke. You could get a meat cleaver or a piece of meat to strike her, and he chooses the lump of meat. It's pure Joker. And now they're in the World's Fair, and we learn that Joker has rigged everything with explosives because, again, Joker loves his bombs. So, again, so I won't go through everything because we're approaching the end, and I want to talk about the teams again, not just the scenes in itself, because what there's there to say? Batman saves her. Um, of course, he discovers it's her at the same time that he saves her, but whatever, it's urgent. Joker's gonna kill her, it's a matter of seconds. So he destroys the big fan, saves her, um, and the fight with the Joker in the like King Kong and Godzilla in the small city, that the miniature version of Gotham. So it makes them like mythical gods that are fighting in the gates of heaven and hell. I don't know, something like that. It's the symbolic again. It's very mythical and well crafted. So defeats saves Andrea, defeats the Joker, and a great line when the Joker tries to, of course, get out because he tries to get out with his jetpack, and the Joker says to Batman, "What are you doing?" Because Batman is just punching him. So he's doing, "I'm the last chance you have of leaving this place alive, you fucking nuthead. Your nut job is," and Batman says, "Whatever it takes." And that's another perfect, idyllic Batman line, "Whatever it takes." So, great. And now the best, of course, again, in this last climax, the best confrontation. They finally put all these themes to words, and Batman says, "What are you on such a vengeful path?" I don't know. Again, he knows it's sad, but why are you resolved to killing? Why have you gone so far? I've fought criminals. He doesn't say it, but that's what he's thinking in his head. It's like, I fought criminals for years and I have never killed anybody because it's important. It separates us from them. And she said it loud and clear. She said, look at what they did to us, what we could have had." And it's all her mantra. It's her epiphany. It's her vengeful soul. It's everything combines together just in the phrase, "what we could have had." And everything, every bit of her character, everything in this movie is based on that single phrase, "what we could have had." That's what created Batman. That's what created his foes. That's what created, again, Batman is the same as her. And that's why he can't always uh, um, talk to her for a very long time before they, like that. She just, they were talking about it, very important, and she just disappears. He says, just leave. And they can't, even if they made love yesterday, because in their proper vengeful uh, clothes, in their vengeful minds, their vengeful spirits, they cannot work together anymore. They cannot love themselves anymore because they are just, uh, they are swallowed, they are overtook by vengeance so much that they can't be in love, they can't be in harmony together anymore because vengeance gets in the way. So they can't. So again, now everything they cross each other, they have to disappear. They have, because they know that everything, every time they get together and they, like yesterday, just they found themselves. She saved him. They made love. They were happy. Before, as long as they doesn't have their costumes on, everything is bright and happy. But as soon as you put the old, the trauma and the vengeance and the fight against the evil, they can't reconcile each other because they're too consumed by it. And this has consumed even their love, even their life. Like I said, imagine what they could have been. They could have had the children, the grandchildren, the fantastic years of joy they could have had without any of this. This is fucking torture. This life, you wake up, you get beaten up, and you're in total adrenaline mode and fear and vengeance and angry, and it's all negative. It's negative, 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 self-destructive for every day until they die. And that's why Batman is the best character, because he chooses. He's not imposed to do it. He's imposing it on himself. And any time, any day, any second, he could take off the cowl and walk away, and the world would go on. The world would go on, but he cannot let it happen. He cannot let go. And whatever it takes. So Batman and Joker get lost, and we see Andrea taking Joker by the shirt, and she says, one way or another, then it ends tonight. Goodbye, my love. And everything blows up, and she disappears. So we don't know what happens with the Joker or her. And of course, we can assume Batman's assumed that they're both dead. And Alfred says, "Well, Alfred, again, again, we have when the bombs start blowing before Andrea and the Joker disappears, the score goes to a 9,000%, above 9,000, and the score begins so epic with the core and the best laugh Mark Hamill ever had. I don't know what vitamins he took did this that morning, but it was crazy best Joker laugh ever in all of history. So then Batman escapes alive, and we have the last piece of the core of the theme of the movie said by Alfred. And Alfred has completely from all the people, from someone as such intelligence as Bruce Wayne and Batman. He is the same. He is so consumed with rage and his quest and uh, everything in his training and his he is such on a sharp, narrow path that he has to stay in perfect balance all the time to have the edge on everyone. He can never, like I said, the proper, he can never let go of anything, because if he lets, like his no kill rule, if he slips one time, he's done. He's done. So he is the same way in this one relationship, because it's the only love relationship he never had. He is, I mean, it's the first he ever had. So he thinks the same way about it. He's all or nothing. Is my way or the highway. It's everything must go. It's and he can't come to an understanding that she saw it differently, or that life and his parents and whatever the gods he prays to, he can't understand that someone would do that. We can't understand that he couldn't make it happen like he wanted. So, and he just say, Alfred says it, I don't think she wanted to be saved. And the best vengeance blackens the soul. I always feared you would become that which you fought against. You walk the edge of that abyss every night, but you haven't fallen in, and I thank heaven for that. Like heaven, like his parents, like the bats in the cave, and uh, even not you could have pulled her back with all your strength, your skill, your wisdom, your smartness, your strategic mind, your skills. With all you have, but still in the darkness, in the complete pit of darkness that is the cracks of the bat cave, he finds his jewel of Andrea that left him there to remind him of better days before sailing in the darkness to unknown lands, because, again, she could have let go. She could have come to Bruce again, but why? She has tried twice already, and it never works. She knows that Batman is gone. Bruce is gone by being Batman, and so she is gone by having her gone through what she has gone through. And I'm sure she will never love again, like he will never love again. And that's the great tragedy that we end on, with a little bit of hope, with the gothic statues and the Batman cape flowing and the score gearing up again, and the chorus, the bat signal lights up, and Batman will go on because, well, he just has to, and he will never quit. Cut to black. So, okay, longer than the movie. Um, I hope you like the movie as much as I do. If you have never seen it, of course, I recommend it. I don't. If by now you don't want to see it, I don't know what to tell you. So it's a long, not a long movie. It's an hour 15 minutes, I think. Um, and well, I think, of course, my goal was not, like I said at the beginning, not just to talk about the movie, but about all the themes of the Batman mythos that he reconciliates, and he spoke us, and that the movie elevates a lot of these themes that we have never seen before in any Batman form. So I hope you got, maybe you learned something, or something caught your attention, or a detail I said, or opinion I had, that made you maybe think differently of Batman, or make you love Batman more, or just that one. I think, if I my only hope is that now, if you haven't seen the movie, you want to see it, and if you have seen the movie before, I hope you want to see it again, and because it's worth watching 100 times and more. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a good Batman day. Live your life. Never quit in the pursuit of love, because it's the greatest thing in humankind. So I will leave you on this, and my next video, I mean, I guess it doesn't matter at this point. Not much people will see this all the way, but I'll try to do a video a week, a video this week that doesn't talk about Batman, because I don't. This channel is not only about Batman. It's just that I have so much Batman to go through, that I want to start with that, because that's what pumps me up. That's what keeps me living. I just love the Batman. So, good night, good day, guys. Whatever you see this, and see you next time. Ciao.